Wait, where did I put my lucky rabbit's foot?
So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Prudence. You can call me Prue. I run Prudent Readings, which is a tarot and astrology company. And I'm one of the lucky rabbits.
And I'm the second one. My name is Mason. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So we have our second Canadian guest, and we're so excited. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, my name's Elaine Kemp. I'm so happy to be here. And I own Energy and Karmic Healing with Elaine. I am a psychic tarot reader. I'm also a Reiki energy healer. And I also work with sound and vibrational healing. So I use the tuning forks and a variety of other sound healing modalities.
I love that. Yeah, the
Lovely.
tuning forks is a really cool way to do it too. I noticed them on your table, and they're like, you have them color coded, right?
Yes, those are set to the frequency of each of the chakras to help bring them into their optimal vibration. And they're a wonderful complement to Reiki energy healing as well, sort of like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I love that. I know Mason got a reading from you that he's really been really loved.
I really did like that. I love how it felt, and I felt very comfortable, and it really.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah, it was a short session that we had, but we can actually get a lot sometimes into those short sessions, and it's a lot to process sometimes as well.
Yeah, actually, what at the end you said that it would like within the next few days I would have a big
release, perhaps an emotional release, perhaps.
Yeah, I've noticed that actually happening, because not in a way that I thought it would. Like I thought I would have a big breakdown session or something, but sometimes, like my whole life I've had these moments where I'll have a dream or I'll wake up crying, and I've noticed that happening a lot recently. Like the past few days have been really rough waking up. Yeah.
So a lot of processing, and when we are sleeping, that is sort of when our guides, our team of light, can interact with us. If it's, they interact with us during the day, but it's often with a calmer mind. But when we are sleeping, that's when some of the work can get done. That's when some of the symbolism through dreams can come through. And it's just because your mind is in a nice, relaxed state. And so there just might be a lot of sort of releasing. People hold on a lot of intense emotions from especially when they're younger. And then if they don't release it, it builds and builds and builds and builds. And it's still there. It's just building on.
Yeah, and it'll start to block like the pools of energy. I know when we interviewed Max, it was the same thing. He was talking about how he like knew that he was working through his energy when he was sleeping.
Yes.
So it's like a common theme for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you want to talk any more about your practice?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, well, I started it. I've been intensely studying tarot and energy healing for the last 7 years. I'll give you a little bit of my background. When I was younger, I did actually have, not frequently, but I did have pretty intense dreams where I would actually get the message that either someone or actually someone's pet had already crossed over. So I would know before the fact.
Yeah.
And but I didn't really think sort of beyond that until I was quite young when I lost my mom. I was 15, and about 2 months after she passed away, she came to me in a dream. Mm-hmm. And I know that dream visitations can be quite common for people. And one of the main things, if you want to know if you're having a dream visitation, is you can remember all the details for years.
Interesting.
Afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know I follow Alison Dubois, who's a medium, and she said something to that effect. She said things will be more real in that dream. You'll recognize the person, and because you recognize them, it'll stick.
Yeah, it's we often tend to forget our dreams when we wake up, or snippets of it, but this was many, many years ago, and I still remember the message. I remember everything about the dream. And it really, even at that young age, I'm like, okay, that was a message from my mom that I need to change something here. But then it wasn't really until I was going through my own healing journey through, we all go through a lot of challenges. I know pretty much everybody, they think, a lot of people feel like they're alone, that they're suffering, that they're going through these experiences. And yet really everybody is going through some sort of challenge and has experienced challenges, right? And so I was myself. I had been in a 15-year, very abusive marriage. And it was after I finally broke free of that. And I had therapy, went on antidepressants, tried diet, exercise, and I still couldn't seem to get over that healing mountain. Something was missing.
Yeah, and then so that's when you kind of found like the spiritual work too.
That's right. I started looking outside the box, and that was when I actually went and had my first Reiki energy treatment.
I love that. That's like a great way to break through that, especially because I always look at it. I take a medication for bipolar, and it helps kind of keep things together, but you have to do work too. Like it's a crutch anytime you have medication or someone helping you work through something.
Well, it's a combination of modalities, I feel, that are needed. A blend of Eastern and Western medicine. I would never say, because sometimes the human body does need some of those medications to help balance the chemicals out. So I would never say, don't ever, take anything, but it's starting to do a bit of a blend of it. And it did start me on my journey of embarking on the whole spiritual route and developing my psychic abilities. And but I'll admit, my first treatment with Reiki, I left thinking, what the hell was that? She didn't even touch me. It was like, what the hell?
It's like a hard one to really wrap your head around at first.
It is. But later that night, I felt different. I felt like the weight of the world was not resting on my shoulders anymore. It gave me a chance to breathe and to think and to release those heavy emotions that had been dogging me for so long. Yeah, so that's when I was like, there's something here.
Like the peace of mind, right? Like it's like what he was saying. That's interesting. I've never had any energy work done, but it is interesting to think that it's like in that moment you can unblock it, but it takes the personal work to recognize that it's unblocked and what was blocking it, right? Like someone can help you work through the energy, but they can't help you address it.
You know what? You're exactly right, Prudence. I mean, there is no one-stop shop. You're going to take a pill, one session. Like nothing like that works in life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes time to heal from perhaps a lifetime of trauma, a lifetime of habit of thoughts and beliefs that you need to reframe and relook at. And what I love about energy healing is that it addresses, I mean, we are so much more than this physical body, right? We are layers of energy. And
yeah, absolutely.
We have a mental body. We have an emotional body. We've got, our depth of love or lack of love, it moves up all the chakras.
Yeah, there's a diagram that I really like that I think is Kabbalistic, but I'm not quite sure. And it has the 3 spheres of perception, so that you have like your spiritual sphere, your physical sphere, and then your soul, kind of. So it's like spirit, and then your soul, and then your physical body. Yeah. And that always helps me think about it.
Yeah, because remember, like some people feel that even if they, like, of course, we are spirit having a temporary experience in a human body. But
Yeah.
our whole spirit is not like shoved into this body. That's not how it works. Like you said, there's those 3 layers: the physical body, our higher self, which is a component of our spirit that is still remaining in the spirit world, that
Yeah,
is
it's a
also
connection.
overseeing everything.
Yeah, and then I always love the idea that I don't know, it really helped me because there is like the spiritual knowledge and then it's like a soul kind of driving it. And when you kind of, because it's hard for me, I like really believe that we exist as almost an echo of energy once we've passed. And for me, it's easier for me to believe or understand when I think of like the soul that drives us, that energy being reincarnated, and then the spirit just joining back into the collective. I almost think like in terms of like technology, like we get downloaded back into the cloud until we're ready to be uploaded again or uploaded into the cloud.
Oh, that's a neat way to, absolutely. It's a neat way to think of it. And there's a purpose for why every single one of us are here. I mean, many, people have said that Earth is it's a masterclass. It is not an easy school to be in. Spirit identifies that. But it's opportunity for tremendous growth on a spiritual level for the individual soul as well as for the collective. Because when you're helping the collective, when you're helping others, service to others, it is also of benefit to you. And service to others is my main drive. It is, my journey from overcoming obstacles really showed me that, listen, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I want to help teach people.
That's been a really common theme of everyone so far that we've interviewed is like in the moment in childhood or in our youth, it was like really like a tension that we were like, why is everything so hard? And then once you find like that you're a reader or you're a helper or you're working in service or you've been called to work in service, you realize those hard things are really things that are going to be tools in your belt to help other people, which is beautiful, but obviously it's very difficult when you're going through it in the youth. But
yeah, but you know what? Things are changing. Consciousness is changing, and more people are becoming aware of whether it's the divine spirit, whatever energy, and the young youth are starting to become much more informed. And once you learn some of the greater tools, the playbook to life, those challenges, those lessons that we experience don't have to be nearly as hard as we have made them before without those tools. Things that have happened to me over the last couple of years, it will take me a couple of days, a week at the most, to work through, where it could have taken months or years, like years, to get over some of this stuff. Sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I say to my family, I just need a day or two to rejig, and then I'm okay.
I love that as a term. Did you say rejig?
Yeah, rejig, just sort of
the
process
dance.
it. It's okay to feel the emotions. It's okay to feel anger, sadness, like feel it, let it out, but then sort of step back and go, okay, well, what was the bigger lesson here? What am I learning here? And as, Bashar, who's a famous channeler, has said, everything is perspective. Nothing has built-in meaning. So we can give a positive spin to it, or we can give a negative spin to it. And what is to your benefit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have this is so interesting. I have a couple questions. How do you feel about like past life trauma and like working through things that you might not even really understand?
Well, that's a part of my business, right? Elaine, energy and karmic healing. Karmic healing is lessons that
Right.
we bring into this life, but also things that we may have brought into this life that is residual to the soul that really was quite traumatic, right? That and you might not even know what it's about.
Mhm.
I know personally, and so absolutely, I believe in past lives, parallel lives, concurrent lives. I believe we all have had hundreds, if not thousands, of incarnations
Yeah.
to learn. But I know for a very long time, very afraid of closed-in spaces, very claustrophobic. And
Yeah.
I kept having dreams ever since I was a child of
I was
being
just gonna say
crushed.
dreams.
Yes. I can't tell you how many dreams I had about where I was immobile and a dresser was falling on me or a truck was backing over me.
Yeah.
And it finally came up through a session, um, an incident that happened in a past life. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. There's a reason behind it. It makes sense. And I never had a dream again.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you like addressed it and you worked through
I
it kind
addressed
of.
it. It was acknowledged, I guess. I was able to release it to go, okay, well, this doesn't have anything to do necessarily with this life. This was a past trauma. It just sort of explained things.
Yeah.
And it let it, I was able to I definitely did not have any more dreams about it.
About
And
it in general. Yeah.
like I'm not nearly as claustrophobic as I used to be. It can sometimes still creep up on me, but like it's not a big deal.
That's interesting. Yeah, I have been meaning to. The first person I interviewed is one of my mentors, and she does quantum hypnosis, where she will put people under and then just ask them about their past lives. And she says that for the most part, almost everyone, if they're like someone who's open to it, will immediately go back into a different kind of personality.
I feel like that can really help to put some things in perspective. I mean, you don't want to, it's a fine line because you want to be here now in the present. You don't
Mhm.
want to be engrossed in like, well, past life this and past life that. But it can give you some answers to some challenges that you're experiencing in this life. And another important thing to remember is that we are more than this life experience, this current life experience. We have learned previous lessons. We have tremendous strength from previous incarnations. And so we want to pull in some of those strengths and use that in this life. But
Yeah.
there definitely is a wonderful author who does the type of work that your mentor does. He used to, and he wrote some very popular books. One is called A Soul's Journey, and it's what was his name? I'm reading actually his next one. Michael Newton. Okay,
Thank
and this
you.
is
I love seeing
Destiny
the
of
name.
Souls. This is Destiny of Souls, but it's Michael Newton, and he worked solely with people and did past life regressions to learn what it was like between lives, up in the spirit world, that sort of thing. And it's just really fascinating, really interesting. And what I like to, remind people is that take what you hear, take what you learn from others, take what you read, take what resonates with you, and if something else doesn't, then just leave it. Like, it's not about being convinced about stuff if it doesn't feel right to you.
I for sure. There is a quote that it's so funny. One of my English teachers said once, and it was keeping yourself in a suspended state of questioning, like
Yeah.
never be too sure of anything, but be open to hearing about it.
Love it. Yeah, that's the thing, is that we should always be open to learning open to perspectives, and also be respectful of others, because we all have the choice to believe whatever it is we believe, and everybody has a right to make their own decisions. And I'm definitely not here to like try to convince people of anything. It's your choice, and I'm offering whatever resonates with you. Then that's great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Like, that's you're given your birthright.
And one more question that I have specifically about Reiki that I've been wondering is, I heard that some people who have like sweaty palms, or like their hands kind of like heat up, that's like a sign that they are energy workers who aren't working through things. Do you have any experience like that?
You know what? That it's so interesting that you said that, because it just jogged a memory of pretty much all through my younger years into my 20s, my hands were sweaty.
Yes, absolutely.
Like embarrassingly sweaty.
I have that right now, and it clicked that there was an old memory that I read something or someone said something, and I was like, oh my God, because Mason like will go to grab my hand, and I'll be like, just warning you, she is.
Yep, I hear you. I'm very similar. I wouldn't want to put it into like a pigeonhole of only people who do this or that, but
Yeah.
I know that when I'm doing Reiki, sometimes my hands can heat up tremendously. Other times they stay cool, and I feel that that is dependent upon the energy that is needed for the type of healing with the individual, and a masculine feminine element as well to it.
Oh, interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, and it's almost not even like, I don't know. I've been trying to work through a lot of energy, and it's almost like, it's almost like the more I work towards it, the hotter my hands get, even if it's just for myself. So that's really good to hear. I meant to ask Max that, but I'm glad that I remembered to ask you.
Well, and like anything, the more you practice, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes, right?
I love that. So the next question that I have is, do you have any like meaningful stories or advice or like experiences you'd like to share, kind of discovering your spirituality aside from your practice?
Oh, well, I know for me, what helped me to develop my psychic intuition was to learn tarot.
Oh,
yeah. So I actually took formal classes. This was before COVID. It was all in person, and many chunks of like a series of certificates in order to learn. And I'm very much a knowledge seeker. So I am every day either reading or like I use social media as a tool. There's so many fantastic people out there, so many wonderful teachers, and that's what I've done to sort of increase, learn, and just on my own healing journey. Like you can't help others unless you've experienced it yourself.
yeah. And with social media, I think that's interesting because when I started following you, you've been making some shorts and videos where you're explaining things, and I've really found them helpful as far as it's kind of like a lot of this is nebulous and can go either way, but to have someone there who's making like really direct content that helps people is really great, because it's what you're saying, right? Even if you're someone who already is seeking the knowledge and doing the work, there's always more context that you can get, and it's such a digestible, easy to follow kind of way to deliver information.
Well, that's the thing, is that there will never be a time when we're not learning and we're not growing, right? So the thing is that as you learn and as you grow, your life does become better. You become happier. You manifest the things that you want. And again, like the drive behind my business is I want people to see their own strength. to learn their own self-healing abilities, to realize that they can manifest the life that they want, that they deserve, to follow their passions, to basically just learn some of the playbook to life that a lot of us we don't know.
Yeah. And it's almost like everyone's got their own playbook, right? I know in astrology, so I do astrology, and when I look at natal charts, they're the nodes of the moon. There's the north node and the south node, and in Vedic astrology, they refer to the south node as your karma and the north node as your dharma. So you can kind of look at the energy that people went through, like theoretically in a past life, and the energy that they should move towards in their next life.
Yeah, you know what? I have tremendous respect for people such as yourself who do astrology, because I know how complicated and technical it is, and there's so much to know. That is something that I'm like, I think I will set that aside. That's not
Completely fair, especially
but
for your modalities.
But I have tremendous respect. I have had intense sessions with some astrologers, and it's incredible, like the personality traits and the experiences that you may have gone through thus far and what you're encountering is like, it's just phenomenal how accurate it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that when I started running charts and things, you really do have to take a step back. My program, I can tick a bunch of boxes to run, and every once in a while I'll include a new one, but for the most part I have to go in and I'll be like, I don't understand that one yet, and it's just about, it's as complicated as you can make it, really, or as you can take
that. But that's the thing is that at least you acknowledge it and you know it. To be frank, even I definitely don't know everything about tarot and the chakras and energy and stuff. That's why I'm continually learning. But yeah, for tarot, I mean, it's so complicated and so intricate and so layered.
Yeah. I use the Rider-Waite deck, and one thing that I have completely just decided that I'm not someone who can do it is numerology. In that, I am much better at interpreting the imagery. I'm an art student. Not right now, I graduated, but yeah, the symbolism in the imagery is really what I need. And so for that reason, I can't do like super simplified decks, because I need to see it,
Yeah. But again, it's identifying your strengths. It's also what your what your innate abilities are, and then heightening them. It doesn't mean that it would be a bad reading at all if you can't do numerology. It's probably a fabulous reading, because you're just using different things that resonate with you. We're all so different, right? So
it's modalities completely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And embracing the modalities that you can do really brings a different flavor, because this is something else I was talking to Max about, is you really should go to different readers or different energy workers, because everyone's going to do it differently, and you'll resonate with everyone differently.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you. You want to sort of find an experience, because you're right. Everybody brings something different to the table in any of these modalities. Absolutely.
I love that so much. One thing I do want to ask you about, because I really love them, and I've wanted to get tattoos of jewelry before. I love like your bracelet tattoo and this. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say about them? Because I think that they tell such an interesting story before anyone even meets you.
They, usually people who get tattoos, not always, but usually they are representative, right? They do tell a story. And for instance, the stars on my side represent actually the tarot card, the major arcana, the star, number 17.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And there's 17 of them here. So
The
faith,
star is a great
hope,
one because it's
right?
that energy, it's the flow of energy and like tapping into, right? She's got her foot into the collective pool. That's a great one.
Yeah, so it's sort of like post-it notes to me. On my chest, I've got to thyself be true, right?
Lovely.
That is such an important message that I learned, that you cannot and you should not live your life according to the wants, needs, and demands of other people. This is
Authenticity.
your life to live. This is you're here to live your life, and no one has the right to tell you how to live it. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, you're not taking anything from anybody else, then it's so important to forge your own path and not pay attention, because there will be people who will say they don't agree with what you're doing. But you know what? Like, well, okay, who cares? Like, this is my life.
Yes, being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And there's even people who have influences or that you'll look towards, at least for me, that I'll look towards and I'll be like, well, I need to be like them, or I need to fit this mold. Even if people aren't telling you to, it's sometimes you lose yourself in feeling like you need to be doing or saying or being more like other people. So that's a great one.
And you know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. It's an epidemic in this world, lack of self-love,
Absolutely.
lack of self compassion and non-judgment. And I tell everybody, your most important relationship is with yourself.
Mhm.
And when you can love yourself, have compassion for yourself, and be proud of the things that you have accomplished, it will naturally flow out for others. You will have compassion for others. You will not judge others. Everything has to start with self. Even, generational healing, children who are going through challenges, it's the parent that needs. I knew, leaving that abusive relationship with 3 children, that I had to heal myself in order to help heal my kids.
Yes, and it sets a great example for
Yeah.
like the next generation to be able to recognize that, and even if it's hard in the moment, that they'll be able to recognize healthier relationships down the line
Yeah.
and not put themselves in that situation.
Yeah, be the model, right? Just not even telling them, oh, you should do this or you should do that. It's having them learn by example, and them seeing that if you value yourself, it's like, well, hey, I should value myself too. And I'm very much a huge proponent of follow your passion, follow what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And if it hasn't been done before, well, why the hell can't you be the first one to
You have to be
do
sometimes.
or do
Yes.
that? Everybody's a first. Like, look at all these different things. The first person who built a table, who built a chair, who built,
Yes, literally.
right?
I always
Be the
think
first.
the first person to build a set of staircases, they really changed the game.
Yeah,
Like ladders before, right? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it, is everyone has to do a first.
be the first. And why can't you have an income based off of something that you love to do? We were not born to be here to work at a job that is unhappy, to just pay bills and to just get by.
Mhm.
If you believe that you can accomplish and thrive on what you enjoy and what you're passionate about, we create our own reality, right? We bring to us what we think about.
There's an interesting aspect to being a reader too, where I think a lot of us in the beginning face kind of a friction with the people in our lives when we're trying to explain what we want to do or what we can do. And then once the capital comes into it, once it's like a career thing, people stop trying to interject, which is unfortunate, but
It's very unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like once the money is involved, people take it seriously
It's
or
then
Let you.
you've proven your value.
yes, beyond. But the thing is, I think it breaks a lot of our hearts a little bit because we want to just be able to do it for everyone all the time. And consent comes into it, obviously. We don't want to do things for people that don't want them. But yeah, it is super unfortunate that it takes becoming a career to be able to have like everyone around us respect it or not try to take it from us.
Yeah, that's, that's a complicated point that you bring up, right? And you sort of have to be satisfied in knowing that what you are doing is right, and also surrounding yourself with that community, right? The community of healers, of mediums, of psychics, of Eastern medicines. They get you, right? It is very common as people go through an awakening, a spiritual journey, where, some people in your life will start to fall away a bit because you just can't relate to each other anymore. And I know that even my immediate family, like siblings, my dad didn't really get it. And I was told, I'm like, go get a real job sort of thing.
Yep.
And it created some distance. And I actually did not see my dad the last year of his life. And until 2 days before he passed, I went and knew it was close, went to, he was not conscious, but I talked to him because I know his spirit was already around and listening. And I gave him Reiki for the very first time. And later on, I had a mediumship reading and he came in going, oh my God, I had no clue what you were doing. I now get it. And thank you for giving me that Reiki. It made me feel more comfortable. And I can't believe the impact that you are making on people.
That's
And
so beautiful.
it is. And my relationship has actually improved tenfold with him now in the spirit world. And I've been able to let go. And to now, I know that now he sees the bigger picture, the broader perspective, and has dropped away the lower emotions. And I feel him around me all the time.
Yeah, I have family members that I feel the same way about. Yeah, where there was just like complicated emotions around the end or around them and their relationship with people. And I know that there's like situations where I know specifically for me, I had a family member who really like they presented to me like they respected me. And I found out later on that they were saying a lot of things at the end of their life that were really kind of would have broken my heart to know that they were saying.
Yeah.
But I trust that on the other side, my mom had a mediumship reading where she came through and it was really apologetic on her part. Like she learned through rejoining everything that those judgments or those harsh words were just really uncalled for, and breaking her and breaking the relationships she had with people. So there's something beautiful about hearing from a medium and knowing that we all, and it's comforting to think that we all will rejoin that at some point and address things that we couldn't on Earth.
Absolutely. I mean, we will go through that life review. We will experience all the feelings that we had other people feel from our actions and our words, whether it's good or bad. And again, those heavy emotions of fear, doubt. I mean, people who say things that are not nice, that comes really often from their own pain, their own insecurities, their own,
a lack of the right tools, like a lack of the right tools or the wrong tools being given to them. We only have what we get.
Exactly. And that's why we need to sometimes, we look at, blame our parents for things, but sometimes you've got to really, first of all, in the end, you got to put that sort of stuff in perspective and not hold it on as a reason to be held back. And also to look at, well, what were their parents like? right? It's a generational thing. And
I've had to take a minute to do that a lot, especially because if we think about it, like I think like my generation is really quick to blame the entire generation above us. But if we take a step back, we kind of we weren't treated, we were treated better. I don't know how to say that because I know that people born in like the 60s, 70s, like they were raised by a generation that was really quick to hit, really quick to put down, really quick to like yell at. And our parents were able to really break that, even if we still feel like we got some residual of it. And so we are able to, like, I know my generation for sure has moved to a place where we are refusing to participate in a lot of that behavior. But it took our parents healing from their parents, from their parents. Yeah.
Exactly. It's healing, it's learning, it's identifying cycles, it's breaking cycles. It's realizing that we are all human, including our parents, and of course we make mistakes. And but it's so important that as an individual you have the power to move forward, not let and hold those things as excuses, take them as learning lessons
and do better
opportunities, right?
Move through things and become a better person. I always say half of this spiritual battle, right, is recognizing that you aren't going to get over things. You're going to go through them, because if you don't address them, then they're going to, like you said in the beginning, they're going to build up, they're going to block you, and they're going to harm you if you don't recognize them.
Yeah, a lot of it's recognizing it, letting it, and it's the letting go, right, that people have trouble with. It's feeling that they need forgiveness or that they cannot forgive. But forgiveness is so much to do with the individual and not the person that they have issue with. It's acknowledging, accepting, and then going, okay, yeah, that crappy thing happened to me, or that person did that horrible thing. But it's such a waste of precious time in this life and energy to be held in the past, rethinking. Our mind doesn't know the difference between seeing an actual event and thinking of it. It's reliving it and reliving it, and it does nothing to help you. Like, there's only power right now in the present. And that's where meditation and mindfulness are such incredible tools to go along with your healing journey and with your overall happiness and well-being.
I love this because one of the questions I was going to ask is advice, and you've really just been giving like any listener or viewer advice this whole time. Like, it is that call to service, right? Like, even when you don't realize it, you're bringing a lot of advice through, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's something that I really I want to help people. Everybody deserves to be happy. Everybody really deserves to be happy and to see their incredible strengths and what is out there and what is possible and their own healing modalities. There is something I wanted to add real quick when you're asking me about sort of interesting experiences that I may have had. And one, it's actually with animals. Yeah, and I work with animals a lot and their energy centers as well. And I have my own pets, and I kept going to this one dog park along the beaches, which is lovely. And this one dog always has a muzzle on it. And because potentially too aggressive to other dogs. And so I asked the dog walker to ask the owner if it was okay if I just did 5 minutes of Reiki anytime I saw the dog on the dog.
Oh, that's such a sweet thing to offer, right? Because they deserve it too.
Oh, they absolutely deserve it. And they respond actually a bit more easily to it, and I can do shorter sessions. But anyways, as I was, over the coming weeks doing Reiki, and the dog was becoming a bit calmer and less reactive, though the owner has to work with it too, right? Like they have to, it's a journey of healing, right? But anyways, one day, the dog started to be a bit reactive towards a very large gray other dog. And I suddenly just got a big flash of a past life that dog had experienced. And that dog in that previous life had been a guard dog outside of large tents with mountains, and it was protecting the family and territory from gray wolves.
Wolves, yes, that makes sense. And it's, yeah.
So the entire time, like that whole life was aggression.
Yep.
It was being on guard. And so it impacted the soul so tremendously. And so it gave me insight for when working with the dog to say, okay, this is a new life. You get to chill now. You get to be taken care of. You get to be protected. And then soon after, I got it was so crazy. The film strip of the past life changed, where the dog was now calmer. Like it was the craziest thing I ever saw. It was just like, it was almost like rewriting the past life experience in order for the dog to come to terms with where they were right now. But I just thought that was a really fabulous thing that happened.
I'm so glad that you shared that, because animal work, I think that it's really underrepresented. I know that a lot of us, right, like there's the trope of any like mystic or like witch kind of person having like their familiar. And I've definitely experienced like having animals come into my life, and they work with you as much as you work with them in a way.
Healers. Right? They're healers. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
They're healers, and they deserve the healing, especially those who are rescues. Sometimes they go through trauma, so they need as much, not only physical healing, but mental and emotional healing as well.
And so like one of the things to ask after that is, so clairvoyance, is that one of your gifts?
Claircognizance is probably my strongest.
Yep.
I'll just suddenly know stuff.
Sense. Right? Like you could have seen that past life, or that, like you called it a film strip I liked. Yeah. But it takes the knowing it takes the information coming into your brain. Anyone listening who doesn't know, clairvoyance is clear sight, getting images coming to you, and claircognizance is clear knowing, information coming to you. And so I can see how those really help.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We all have psychic abilities, okay? Anyone who wants to learn or develop them, it is possible. And of course, there are people born who are a bit more, it comes more easily. It's just like there are natural cooks. There are natural people who can speak different languages, right?
Dancers is a good example, because some people are born with that rhythm, and some people gotta really dance to get it.
And I'm definitely not a dancer. But again, if I purposely went and tried to learn, then of course, I would never perhaps reach that very skilled level, but it still is possible. Yeah. Another strong sense that I have is clairsentience. I do feel things in my body. I often, my guides, present themselves to me through and correct information through tingles throughout my body in certain areas.
And that must help with the energy work, right? If they're able to communicate to your body what you need to communicate to other people's body, or what you, yes, that's a really interesting one.
Yeah. And especially if I also say something, hit on something that is of utmost importance for the client to know, they will just either drill tingles all down my back, or through my legs, or through the top. So it's their way of going, yes, this was important, or yes, this is what we need to do, or what you're reading. Yeah.
I'll get the shock a lot. Like someone will be sitting near me, and my mind wanders, and I'll be like, oh, And then everyone around me is like, what? And I'm like, oh, nothing. Oh, I just remembered the oven's on or something.
But you've learned, right? I'm sure that you've learned to identify that. I think that a lot of people are getting these tingles or these flashes or these knowings or these smells, and they don't understand or they don't realize or acknowledge what it is, right? It's just something to sort of, if you want to learn about, become a bit more open. And then you start to, I mean, I used to think, oh my God, am I just always getting cold? Am I just feeling cold? And I almost started testing it and realized, you know, in the heat of summer and all of this, or when I was reading, I definitely, like, I do a lot of reading in the mornings. And when I hit something that they want me to really focus on, they will vibrate through my body.
Yeah, like grab your shoulders almost. Be like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll ask you is, and I kind of can already see how I would draw you as a rabbit, but what kind of rabbit do you think that you kind of resonate with? I almost see like a very small, fluffy, I know that I'm going to draw you with a star spot on your eye because I just love those tattoos.
Lovely, lovely. You know, I've never really thought about it. I do like the ones with the ears that just sort of flop.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
like dwarf rabbits or something like that. I'm not sure, but they just sort of flop over, and
Lop-eared.
yeah, it's just this sort of take me as I am, love me or leave me, I don't care, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing, sort of
I
thing.
love that. All right, that's cool. I wouldn't have thought about that, but I'm glad. I'm always glad I asked because I think that I love the drawing people as rabbits. One thing that I've started saying is, since the Lucky Rabbits talk show is welcome to the Warren. A Warren is like a collection of rabbits, and so
Lovely.
yeah. So that's just a little fun thing that I do, and that'll be your thumbnail on YouTube. And I'll post a little bit of like the drawing on Instagram.
Oh, that's so lovely. I can't wait to see it. And I am so appreciative of this interview and getting to know you and the chance to share what I do.
Thank you. I mean, so much of this is holding space because I think we are some of readers in general, some of the most interesting people with such cool stories, but we've made our job talking to people about themselves. And so rarely do we get to put ourselves out there. So I'm so glad that you were open to the experience.
Of course.
I know a couple more people from the fair. George, I should be able to interview George next month, and I've been really nervous to email everyone. And so I have a little stack of like 8 more people that I have to email.
Okay, you know what? Go for it. And please feel free to use my name, that I did one with you as well. That I don't know if that will help in any way, but I tend to do a lot of these fairs. I interact a lot with these wonderful people, and so I'm certainly happy to sort of, you know, encourage it, because I feel like it's important to get the messages out. I mean, the main thing is that you want to help people and inform people and teach people, and I think that this sort of platform is really valuable.
Yeah, I mean, it's super small. We only get, I think, like 10 views
Just
so
at
far.
the beginning, honey.
Yes.
You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. And I think it's that same thing that you've got on your neck is be true and be authentic, and that'll resonate with people. So yeah.
That's right.
And then the last thing that we talk about is just, where can people find you? Where can people book a reading with you? I'll have to plug the actual people who run those fairs, because I think by the time these come out, usually some of them have already happened.
Okay. Do you want me to mention the fairs? Would you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of different fair organizers. Ones that I use are through the Thompson events. They're psychic and crystal fairs. Reed events also do really wonderful fairs. Holistic healing. You know, it's yeah, they do a lot of one-day fairs. Redfern does some one-day fairs. It's just sort of, it's amazing. 5 years ago, if I wanted to myself as a patron go to a fair, I'd be lucky if there was one in the area once a year. Now they're popping up everywhere. So it's good because more people are interested, right?
And the people who go to those fairs, as far as like the readers, oh my God, you guys are all so friendly and you all do different things, which is so cool.
That's right. That's right. There's many different types of readings, many different types of healers. There's great crystals. There's all kinds of stuff. But for anyone who would like to reach me, I do have a website, Energy and Karmic Healing with Elaine, and you can book through the website. You can also email me directly at khealing37@gmail.com. And I am also on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook.
Nice. And those ones are all the same as far as EK Healing?
I believe I'm trying to remember now. I think Instagram might be EK Healing 37, something like that. Yeah.
Perfect.